Hey, he said he was 18.
He looks like he's 4, you fucking moron!
Hello and welcome, film muffs. I'm Zack Droll, and I'm joined by my co-host and fellow cinephile, Hunter Venalira.
Yo!
We are the box office losers. Each and every week, we deep dive into the movie sphere, watch and review any and all films to ever grace your TV screen and the silver screen. This week, we are talking about the King of Staten Island.
Woo woo woo! Pete Davidson is on the hype train.
But before we get into that, guys, really breaking news at the time of this recording, Shark Boy and Lava Girl is getting a sequel.
Which we kind of knew about, but not too much, like, not a lot of details. We just knew that they were doing something with that franchise.
It's titled Shark Boy and Lava Girl, I Think We Become Heroes. It's going to be really centered around, I think, their kid, Guppy.
I hate that name.
But it's being released New Year's Day. We are going to try and review it.
Hell yeah, dude. We'll try real hard. So on New Year's Day, if you don't see Shark Boy and Lava Girl 2 as the episode, it's probably going to be Mulan from 1998.
Yes, more than likely.
And then the week after that will be Guppy. Or Shark Boy and Lava Girl 2.
And then after that, we might just watch Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah, we'll go back in time. We'll see what it holds, and hopefully it doesn't get delayed. Because if it does, then we'll watch Shark Boy and Lava Girl right before it comes out.
Oh no, it's all done filming and just being released New Year's Day.
Yeah, well, you know how bullshit works.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are talking about the King of Staten Island today. Pete Davidson's, I think, first leading role in a movie.
Yes and no.
Outside of, Adolescence?
Big Time Adolescence, you could say it was like a co-lead. But this is his first, leading role, I guess you could say, yeah.
And this movie was really good. I personally enjoyed
heartbreaking.
it. I personally enjoy it. It's good. It has its moments. It's sad where it deserves to be sad. Fucking Action Bronson is at the end.
It's a bunch of fun stuff, man. I really enjoyed this film a lot. Me and my boy Billy were really hyped to watch this movie. I'm a big Pete Davidson fan. I think he's funny. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I'm a big Pete Davidson guy. I like him on SNL. I've watched his 2 stand-up specials, and then I've seen both of his movies this year. And then I saw him in The Jesus Rolls, where he just played a quick role in it, which is the sequel to Big Lebowski, but it's not good, trust me. But
Pete Davidson is for me, he definitely deserves more credit than he gets.
Oh yeah, no, he's got actual talent, and I'm glad that people are finally noticing that, and I'm glad Judd Apatow was able to do it. But he's known Apatow for a while.
Well, it's I believe this movie was legit. It's a look into Pete's life if he didn't pursue comedy.
It's semi-biographical. He even says that in the original trailers. He's like, this is basically what my life would have been if I didn't move to the city instead of Staten Island and do comedy. And I was like, yeah. All right, cool. I'm excited for that. But I just really enjoyed his performance in this. We'll talk about it later. But me and my boy Billy were super hyped for this movie. We were going to go see it in theaters because I think it was announced, I want to say, right before COVID, around February or March. They were like, this is a movie, it's coming out. And I was like, fucking sweet. And then COVID hit, and I was like, no! So I ended up getting it on demand when it came out July 17th.
I was waiting for it to be released, where I can buy it and not rent it. Because when it first dropped, I think it was on Google Play. It was only to rent, and you couldn't buy it. I'm like,
I got it when it was able to be bought, and I plan on buying the physical copy when it comes out soon.
Well, once I saw I was able to buy it, I'm like, okay, dropping the $20 now.
Yeah.
Which is I feel bad that this film for the budget it had and what it made in the box office. I think if it was released in theaters and COVID didn't happen, it would have made maybe most of its money back.
I think it would have made the budget back at least 1.5 times.
Yeah.
But from what I've been hearing about movie theaters, a lot of them said that they might not do new movies right at the beginning. They might do movies that didn't get a chance to have box office time. So King of Staten Island might come back in theaters next year, even if it's for a small run, just to get some more of its box office back. Those are rumors, though. Don't quote me on it.
But hopping into this overview of this film, The King of Staten Island is a 2020 American comedy drama. Film directed by Judd Apatow, from the screenplay by Apatow and Pete Davidson and David Sirus. It stars Davidson, Marisa Tomei, Bill Burr, Bel Powley, Maude Apatow, and Steve Buscemi.
And I'll get into those characters when we get there.
And it follows a young man who must get his life together after his mother starts dating a new man who is like his deceased father, a firefighter.
Hell yeah, and that's Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this movie is so good, and that overview does not do it justice. When we get into the notes and the plot, we're gonna see a lot of like the cool little nods. This movie is fairly new, so bear with us with this being probably a short episode because there's not a lot of notes to really talk about.
And also, we have seen this, so we don't have our mid-movie like comedy notes.
Yeah, I have a couple notes just of what I remember. Like, I didn't want to watch it again. I feel like that's a movie you got to be in the mood to watch, and I wasn't really in the mood to watch it. But I watched it when it came out, like July, so it's pretty fresh. And that movie is just makes you feel.
And the casting list, I can actually list off these names for once
Because they're all regular names.
The movie stars Pete Davidson as Scott Carlin, Marisa Tomei as Margie Carlin, Bill Burr as Ray Bishop, Ricky Vels as Oscar, who we might know him as trying to think from Hannah Montana.
No, the Moises Arias is.
That was Moises Arias.
Yeah,
Why did you list him?
Because he's not really a main character.
But he is a good name. Bel Powley as Kelsey, Maude Apatow as Claire Carlin, and Steve Buscemi as Pops.
He's just in there as Papa. Like, he doesn't have like a name. It's just Papa.
I'm calling him Pops because that's what
Papa Smurf.
Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah, his last name was probably Papa, and they just call him that.
Yeah. Okay, so Moises Arias should have been like listed though, but fuck you.
I just picked the top build. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Moises Arias. I like you. It's just
I
you weren't
think
top
I
build,
think
my bro.
Ricky is one of Pete's friends. I think he got one of his friends to be in the movie.
It's possible. He got a bunch of his friends to be in the movie. His grandpa's in the movie as Scott's actual grandpa.
I love his lines.
Oh, he's great.
He's such a good character too. You know, he's in there for like one scene.
Yeah, he's in there for like 1.5 scenes. It's really good. You know, this movie is just so like, yes, it's fun.
I saw because I was since we're gonna like we're just gushing over this movie because it really is such like a very fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm. Definitely recommend anyone check it out.
We don't give it a perfect score. We give it like just below a perfect.
Well, yeah, because we're critics at it. We're at a point we are critics rather than just being fans. And as much as I want to give it a perfect score, there are things I did not like 100% about it. And we'll probably get to those at some point. I'll read up my little letterbox review instead of my mid-movie notes to give you a little insight. So the budget for this film was $35 million, and the box office unfortunately was only $2.2 million because it was released digitally, which means most people pirated it.
This did not feel like a $35 million movie.
No, it felt a lot cheaper, but I think it's because a lot of the editing and a lot of the actors and soundtrack cost money. Because they got like good songs in this film.
Because I'm looking at it, and I'm like, cause with this movie, it's legit just shot in like a couple like blocks away from each other.
It's filmed like in a house for the most part, in a firehouse for the other part, and then outside. And
then also in a basement.
Well, yeah. So
it's just so weird. The notes for this film, I'm gonna read the first 3 paragraphs, then
the first 3 paragraphs.
Yeah, I can handle it.
You sure you can do it?
Yeah.
All right, Chief, you got this.
The film was announced by Apatow's next project in early 2019, with the cast joining that April. Filming took place around New York City in June and July. The film has been called a semi-biographical take on life of Davidson, who lost his father during the September 11th attacks, and has his own battles with mental illness. This is very true. If you watch any of Pete Davidson's stand-ups...
Yeah, Pete Davidson's first stand-up special was called SMD, and it doesn't stand for Suck My Dick. It stands for, like, Scott Matthew or Michael Davidson.
Yeah.
So, and he's got a tattoo on his neck that says SMD. It's really cool. Sorry for spoiling that joke when he ends up talking about it, but it's cool. I respect the man.
Yeah, my first introduction to Davidson was like via
SNL?
one of like, well, no, not even. It was one of Comedy Central's like roast.
Oh yeah, he was on I think Snoop Dogg and not Snoop Dogg. Oh God, Justin Bieber.
And I think he was on one before Bieber because that was where I That was when I watched like very closely. I think it was Charlie Sheen's he got first introduced.
I didn't see the Charlie Sheen one. I saw the Bieber one, and I saw the one after Bieber.
On January 29, 2019, it was announced that the Universal Pictures was producing a new film directed by Judd Apatow and starring Pete Davidson. The film was set to be written by Apatow and Davidson, along with David Sirus, with Apatow and Sirus, there we go, also producing the film. Davidson first came to Apatow's attention while working on Trainwreck after he was recommended by Amy Schumer. Hey
man, she was okay for a while. I don't hate her. I'm just not a fan.
He was cast in a cameo role in that film. The story is based in part on Davidson's life, depicting what it might have been like if he had not become a comedian.
Hell yeah, man.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, he's basically like, I would have probably just become a fireman. You know,
or
it is
or an artist, because he does tattoo work as
or
well.
A tattoo artist who also owns a chicken shop.
In April 2019, Bel Powley, Bill Burr, Marisa Tomei were added to the cast. Maude Apatow and Pamela Adlon.
Pamela Adlon, that's
Adlon.
Bobby Hill from King of the Hill.
Okay, and Pamela Adlon joined in May. In June 2019, Colson Barker, otherwise known as Machine Gun Kelly.
He's in this film?
Yeah, he was the tattoo guy.
I didn't recognize him at all. Damn, man.
Like how I know him, cool. Yeah. Jimmy Tatro.
Jimmy Tortoro. He's a YouTube
Totoro.
guy who became an actor recently. He was in American Vandal Season 1.
Oh, yes.
He was the Dix guy. And then he was in Neighbors, and then now he's in Tacoma FD.
Ricky Vels, Steve Buscemi, Kevin Corcoran, Dominic Lebowski for a second. Can you pronounce that last word? Last name? What was it?
Lombardozzi.
Okay. Another Italian last name. Cool.
Mike Vecchione.
Moises Arias, Lewis Wilson, and Derek Gaines joined the cast for the film. Principal photography began June 3rd, 2019 in Staten Island and continued during June and July.
Hell yeah, man. That's just the most basic notes. Now I got some fun little added bits to throw on in here. So,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, fucking Steve Buscemi was a firefighter.
Yep, we're about to get into that. So, Steve Buscemi was a New York firefighter before becoming an actor. In November 2000, Buscemi told Salon interviewer Stephen Lemons that he was in Engine 55 in Manhattan's Little Italy for 4 years in the early 1980s. He took acting classes after about a year on the job and stayed in the fire department until while he was acting in movies and plays. Buscemi quit firefighting in 84 to pursue acting full-time. I think 84 is right around the time he started filming Reservoir Dogs and Fargo.
Yes.
So that's when he got too committed to doing two different movies. But after the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001, he returned to his old fire station to help search for survivors in the rubble of the World Trade Center. My fucking man. Look at Steve Buscemi, man. He's a fucking legend. He's a legit legend.
You want to continue reading, or do you want me to pick it up?
I'll keep going. So during the final scene, which is a little kind of spoilers, but we'll get there. So during the final scene, Kelsey enters the David N. Dinkins Municipal Building in Manhattan. As Scott walks away from the entrance, he stops and looks into the sky in the direction where the Twin Towers used to stand. It's a tribute to Pete's father, Scott Davidson. It's nice.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either until I read that. I was like, ooh, nice. Continuing on, before I let you jump on to the last bits, Pete Davidson's father was a firefighter who died in the line of duty. Scott Davidson's unit, Ladder Company 118 in Brooklyn Heights, responded to a call at the World Trade Center after the terrorist attacks of 9/11. They were rescuing people in the Marriott World Trade Center hotel when the tower collapsed on the building. Peter was only 7 years old when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
The movie ends with the song Pursuit of Happiness by Kid Cudi. Pete Davidson has said that the music of Kid Cudi saved his life, as Davidson also struggled with suicidal thoughts.
Wasn't Kid Cudi in Bill and Ted?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I knew I recognized the last name. I'm not a big music guy.
He was one of the stations, remember that?
Yeah, station.
But yeah, it's like Pete Davidson's life is legit like a tragedy that he has turned into a comedy.
Essentially,
for the most
like
part.
it started off like, you know, his dad died when he was young. He got into drugs really early, and then he had mental illnesses, and then he started coping with comedy. And at around 19 years old, he started doing stand up in the city, and eventually he got on SNL. I think pretty early after he started stand up. He's been on SNL for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I think he might have been one of the youngest cast members.
I
for
think he
SNL.
was the actual youngest in recent memory
Um,
to join at like 21.
Another fun tidbit about Pete Davidson: he still lives at home. He lives in the basement, but he refurnished it. It's all finished.
Yeah,
And
he had like a brief stint where he lived in the city for a while so he can get his comedy stuff going, but then he moved back to Staten Island to support his mams.
Yep. The King of Staten Island was set to have its world premiere at South by Southwest on March 13th, 2020, but the festival was canceled due to COVID-19 pandemic.
Sorry.
Like it's if you look at the backlog of our films, like of all of our reviews, COVID-19 makes a heavy appearance in a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
It was
Mulan, it
rescheduled
delayed
to
Face the
premiere
Music,
at the Tribeca Film Festival in April 20th, 2020, which was also canceled due to the pandemic.
Yay.
Originally scheduled for the theatrical release on June 19th, 2020, the film was instead released digitally in the United States and Canada through premium VOD.
Do you want to know why? Because of COVID-19.
On June 12th, 2020, due to the movie theaters closing, and started in mid-March because of the pandemic resurrection.
Restrictions, not resurrections.
Well,
the pandemic resurrection is going to come next February. Don't worry.
it was initially set to play in about 100 theaters, mostly drive-ins, being the same day as the VOD release, but Universal Pictures changed courses after consulting the film's producers,
which was Apatow and Sirus.
That's kind of I would have liked to have it in a drive-in.
Yeah, I would have totally went to drive-in. I think there's 2 on Long Island.
There's one at the mall and I think somewhere else.
Well, there's one at the mall now because they just use one of the walls.
Yeah,
I believe. But no, there's actually 2 legit drive-ins somewhere on Long Island.
The film was released in cinemas in the Netherlands because, you know, in the UK, they actually have their shit together.
Most of Europe is pretty good. I think Italy is going back into
normalcy.
No, pandemic mode because someone they got a little outbreak over there. I think it's Italy.
On June 25th, 2020, France on July 22nd, Germany on July 30th, and Spain on July 31st. The film made made $253,000 from 160 theaters in Australia debut, and $59,000 in New Zealand.
Yeah, we don't have the numbers for the other ones, but they add up to $2.2 million. So it is rather unfortunate.
Do you want to read this one, or do you want me to pick it up?
In its debut weekend, The King of Staten Island was the most rented film on Fandango Now, Amazon Prime, the iTunes Store, Comcast at Xfinity, Apple TV, Vudu, Google Store, YouTube, Spectrum, and DirecTV. It remained the top rented film across all platforms in its second weekend on all but Fandango Now, and that was at its third. After a month of release, the film remained number 1 rented title on Prime and top 5 on other platforms. In late August, the price was lowered to $5.99, and it returned to the second most rented movie on Fandango and on Apple. In October 20th, in October 2020, The Hollywood Reporter said that the film had generated $40 million in revenue from Universal up to that point. They also reported that the film was the 7th most popular premium video on demand title amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
Then I think probably Bill and Ted 3 took that over once it came out.
It's entirely possible. Or God, what else came out? VOD. No, yeah, I think it was just Bill and Ted that took it over for a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah, because
I forget what came out.
Because we can't count Mulan 2020 because that was paid for.
Disney Plus.
We definitely paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, on to the plot. No more notes, unfortunately, because this movie is fresh as hell.
I also just realized that did Pete ask for his dad's first name to be used as his character, or was that
He wrote the movie.
Okay, well, I'm just fucking stupid. Okay.
He probably just went, I'm gonna use my dad's name, and Judd Apatow was like, okay.
Yeah, bet, man. Do it.
He's like, yeah, cool. And he was like, all right, dude, thanks.
Yeah, kick us off with the plot.
So, Scott Carlin is a 24-year-old high school dropout who lives with his mother, Margie, and his sister, Claire, on Staten Island. Scott's firefighter father, Stan, died fighting a hotel fire when he was young, a loss that continues to affect him. He also deals with numerous medical problems, including Crohn's disease and ADHD, and he smokes marijuana constantly. He is unemployed and spends his days hanging out with his friends, including Kelsey, who he is sleeping with. Kelsey wants the relationship to be more serious, but Scott fears commitment and worries that he's not good enough for her. True. Claire, who is leaving for college, expresses concern that Scott's neuroses will grow out of control without her being there to like calm him down.
We all know how Scott feels.
Yeah. But it's all good. We love Scott.
Does Pete actually suffer from Crohn's? Because I know he suffers from ADHD.
I don't know if he suffers from Crohn's, but I wouldn't be surprised because this is, biographical.
All right. I'll read the next paragraph. Scott dreams of being a tattoo artist and practices regularly on his friends. Although his work is extremely inconsistent. You got
Come on,
Obama
Obama.
wrong.
His eyes ain't right.
One day, while hanging out with his friends on the beach, he is approached by a 9-year-old boy, Harold. He asks Scott to give him a tattoo, but runs off after Scott draws a single line. Later, the boy's father, Ray, shows up at Scott's house. He's initially furious, but is attracted to Margie.
Because it's Marisa Tomei.
Yeah. Aunt May.
Hell yeah, dude.
And he eventually asks her on a date. Margie, who has not dated since Stan's death, agrees. As things become more serious, Margie reveals the relationship to Scott, who is disturbed that Ray, like Stan, is a firefighter. Sorry,
this is a really good scene when Marisa Tomei introduces him to Ray officially, and Scott's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? What are you doing to yourself?" And I'm like, "Oh, geez, here comes the emotions."
Ray takes Scott to a Staten Island Yankees game. Not New York Yankees, but kind of like
side team.
Yes, it's like the minor leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Game with his coworkers, but finds it difficult to talk to Scott, who argues that firefighters should not have families because of the pain that it causes their death. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a tough scene too.
Margie and Ray tell Scott that they expect him to move out of the house, which upsets him. While visiting Claire, Scott reveals his plans to break up Margie and Ray, claiming that the relationship is unhealthy. He gets a job as a busboy and begins walking Harold and his sister Kelly to school each day, and grows closer to them. Meanwhile, Scott's friends plan to rob a pharmacy for oxycodone pills to sell.
This was a dumb plot point. I was like, really? We're gonna have these friends go from being like genuine good delinquents to neutral evil delinquents? I was like, what the fuck's going on, man?
Yeah.
I was like,
Scott,
and then once they get in jail, there's one scene with one of them, and then never seen again. I was like, come on.
I think there's more deleted scenes.
I didn't see any deleted scenes, unfortunately.
Scott is uncomfortable with the plan, but agrees to be the lookout. The robbery goes haywire. While they are confronted by the pharmacist and his wife, Scott's friend Oscar is shot, and they are all arrested by Scott's. But Scott manages to escape.
Yeah. So
I do like the inside scene where you have freaking Moises Arias' character's phone rings and it's the Office theme,
mm-hmm.
and then the other ringtone, I forgot what it was.
Yeah, it's all cool, fun meta commentary on like society, man. Nah, it's just cool, like little Easter eggs. I like that kind of stuff because that's what actual people would use as their ringtones. My boss at the comic book store, his ringtone is Will Ferrell screaming, "My boy!"
My text ringtone is the Kim Possible text tone.
My text tone is R2D2 going burr, burr. And then my ringtone is the Guardians of the Galaxy Hooked on a Feeling. Yeah, gotta love it, man. So, continuing on with our fancy plot. Scott meets with Ray's ex-wife Gina, who's Pamela Adlon. who tells him several negative things about Ray, painting him as a homeless gambling addict. Scott relays this information to Margie in an effort to break them up, only to end up in a physical confrontation with Ray when he discovers what happened. This is where they fight, and then he throws Scott into the pool.
Trying to drown me, like 8 feet tall.
Yeah, you trying to drown me. Dude, you're like 8 feet tall. I love Bill Burr, dude. He's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Furious Margie kicks both the men out of her house. With his friends in jail, Scott struggles to find a place to stay. He sleeps with Kelsey in hopes that she will let him stay with her, but she is disgusted when she realizes his ulterior motives and refuses. Out of options, Scott goes to Ray's firehouse, isn't allowed to stay there in return for doing odd jobs like cleaning shit up and like doing laundry. He gradually bonds with Ray and the other firefighters who tell him stories about his father, humanizing him and helping Scott to accept his death. Ray learns from Harold that Scott is a talented artist and agrees to let Scott tattoo on his back as practice to get better so he can maybe open up that the barbecue joint / tattoo place that he wants to open up, which I think is a great idea.
So within this plot, like it brings up the same thing with with Marisa Tomei's character, and I think the character that plays the aunt, who is an absolute bitch, by the way.
Yeah, she kind of sucks.
She is a toxic person, and like that's
the point,
and with like kind of like with Tomei's character, and she goes, "Oh yeah, we'll talk outside," and just slams the door in Pete's face. That's that kind of took me out of it because a mom would never do that.
Yeah,
like that's something that kind of took me out.
Yeah, the aunt really needed to like get off fucking Marisa Tomei's dick at that point. I was like, cease! You're bad! Pete's better than you, and Pete's a drug-addicted loser.
Continuing on with the plot, one day, a man shows up at the firehouse with an abdominal wound, who is Action Bronson, by the way.
Nice.
While Scott is there alone, Scott brings him to the hospital, where Ray arrives using his firefighter connections to get the man the help he needs. Which is, like, a hospital, if they see a man with blood on his shirt, they're taking him in above anyone else.
Yeah.
It's
weird that it, like, took him a little bit to get him in there. I was like, he was stabbed.
Or shot.
Yeah.
He was stabbed, shot, his vape blew up in his pocket, he was hit by a tennis ball, he stretched strong and popped something.
Yeah, that's the worst one. Oh.
Firefighter connections get the man the help he needs. Margie, who works at his emergency room nurse, sees Scott and Ray and reconciles with both of them. Ray shows Margie his tattoos. A number of them are offensive or violate Ray's criteria. Not really.
He's like, all right, no profanity, no dicks, no naked people, and it's all that. Most of them violate the stuff, but not
no Chinese characters. I don't want orange chicken on my back.
Yeah.
To be honest, I just want to get the order for orange chicken just tattooed somewhere just as a joke.
Tattoo it right in the bottom of your shaft.
What the fuck?
Hello, ladies. Would you like some orange chicken for tang?
But most prominent is a drawing of Margie, Ray, Scott, and Claire together. Scott surprises Kelsey at the Staten Island ferry, where she is heading to Manhattan to take the civil service exam. He rides on the ferry with her, where he confesses his love for her, and the two kiss. Kelsey heads into the exam room, leaving Scott alone with his thoughts in Manhattan. Before we break that down, they forgot to mention that in the same tattoo with Margie, Ray, Scott, and Claire, there is the son that is
Harold and the other one.
No, it was Stan. It was Scott's father.
Oh, in the son. Yeah, I thought you meant and also the son.
No. In the son.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Yeah, the ending scene was nice. It was there's like two alternate endings with what came with the digital version. One is Scott, Ray, Margie, and Clara having breakfast together, and Scott goes back to art school.
Oh, cool.
That was mentioned with it because he shows some of the sketches he has done,
Yeah.
And the other one is Scott going to Kelly's kindergarten class and talking about the job of a firefighter.
That is awesome. I wish I got those in my letterbox review,
Oh,
which
no.
I'll read.
Oh
in
no,
a sec.
it's not like he just breaks it down. He goes like, okay, who do you call if there's a fire? Firefighter. All right, firefighters are pretty cool, right? All right, cool. Go finger paint, and that's it.
That's not what I mean by like that. So I'll read my letterbox review after I go through my 3 mid-movie notes. But at the end of my letterbox review, I'm like, man, I wish there was like 10 extra minutes to get like a real conclusion. And those 2 alternate endings would have given me the real closure I wanted. And if I saw those alternate endings, I would have given this movie a fucking 10.
Oh no, it's legit. It legit says on like on the Movies Anywhere app with the film. I'll pull it up if you just give me one quick second.
Yeah, I'll read off my mid-movie notes while you get that up. So I only have 3 mid-movie notes, and then I'll read my. Oh, you already got it.
Yeah, it's alternate endings parentheses which didn't work.
I think they would have worked.
Not necessarily.
Well, because that's the problem with indie films. Indie films have to leave you feeling a certain way. They can't have real closure. If there's no real closure in an indie film, it's not an indie film. And that's what I think
the only one that would have worked is the family breakfast. The one of him coming in talking about firefighter is just like, firefighters do this. Yeah, and it's just him and the kids just screaming and going crazy.
I think that's funny. Anyway.
All right, yep. Read your letterbox review.
My mid-movie notes and then my letterbox review. So, my first mid-movie note. Already watched this year. I already watched this film. It was good. I loved it. Second one. Fantastic film, and hope Pete gets more serious roles after this and Big Time Adolescence. Third and final mid-movie note. Burr's mustache will haunt me forever.
I don't get that.
I've always seen Bill Burr bald with no facial hair. I've never seen him with facial hair or even hair in general. I mean, I saw him with a little bit of hair in his first ever stand-up special that's on Netflix. That was a while ago. But I never saw him with hair on his head, besides that one time, like 6 years ago. So I was like, uh-oh. I saw him with the mustache, and I was like, oh no. What is this? What is this?
It migrated.
Yeah, it just hustled down. So...
I had no movie notes for this, guys, so because I've seen this already, and I also was I finished it like almost an hour ago at the time of this recording.
Mm-hmm.
So I had class during the middle of watching it, so I wasn't not paying attention.
Oh, the name of the tattoo place that he wanted to open up was called Ruby Tattoos Days. My boy Billy reviewed that, and he put down, I would seriously go to Ruby Tattoos Days. And he's like, do you know how clean that restaurant would be?
That is true.
Because tattoo parlors are like the cleanest places ever.
They are.
Alright, so my letterboxd review. I can't even express how amazing I found this film. The way it makes you feel, the writing, and the cinematography are all breathtaking, and they are Apatow in his purest form. I'm glad he found his stride with Pete and company. I want to see more with these characters, which is unfortunate because it's just like a one and done. But only complaint is that at the very end, it ends like 90% of indie films with no real, and I use that in air quotes, resolution. I fully understand the message and where the film wants me to take the story, but I would have rather had like 10 to 20 minutes more where he goes back to school or goes to work at with the firefighters permanently. But you just told me that the alternate ending, he goes back to school. Well, he says he's going back to school. And then in the other one, he's working at the firefighter's house. So I got my wish. So no real complaints there, but having not seen them, I will not change my review from what I labeled it as. And speaking of reviews, do you want to read this or do you want me to read it?
You can read it. I have a film and a trip up on the website names.
Okay.
My luck.
On review aggregator website, Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 74% based on 269 reviews. Nice. With an average rating of 6.9 out of 10. Nice. The site's critics' consensus reads, the King of Staten Island's uncertain tone and indulgent length blunt this coming-of-age dramedy abilities to find itself, but Pete Davidson's soulful performance holds it all together. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average of 67 out of 100 based on 50 reviews, indicating generally favorable reviews. So, Zach, you gave it a little bit of higher score than me. So, you read the good review.
Okay, this review is good by Will Gompertz. Gompertz, thank you. It's a fucking British last name. Yeah. Hence why it's from BBC.com. The King of Staten Island is more than the run-of-the-mill genre movie. It is a brutal, honest first-person account of what can happen to a family when tragedy strikes.
Hell yeah, man. I agree with that.
And give us that bad review.
So the bad review from Renee Sanchez from CinemaSin. CineSin, it's actually a Spanish review website. He goes, despite Davidson's heartfelt performance, the story struggles to find the right balance between comedy and drama. And I see that at some points. There are points where it seems it's too funny for its own good or it's too serious for its own good, and it didn't blend enough of the dramedy together. But I still think, you'll see my review, I love this film.
It's like, but if you say that, like, for me, I don't see that, because also, like, growing up, I used to watch the Medea films with my mom because she liked them, and those had an ounce of comedy and drama in them.
Mm-hmm. For the most part, especially the first one.
Yeah.
So, my review. 9 tattooed kids who happen to belong to Bill Burr with a mustache out of 10.
My review. 9.5. He looks like a crack. He looks like he sells crack under the bridge out of 10. That is when. That's when Tomei's character was talking with him on FaceTime, and she's like, he looks like he sells crack under the bridge. He goes, I know the guy who sells crack under the bridge. He's awesome. And that's when the kid throws up on himself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I told you I wasn't feeling good. Well, yeah, guys, that was the King of Staten Island. We thoroughly enjoy this.
Please check it out. Please spend money on this. I believe it's out on DVD now, and even though there's not a steelbook, I hope there would have been a steelbook that would have just been all of Pete's tattoos on the steelbook.
Oh, yeah.
Judd Apatow, if you're listening, yeah, that's free for you, man. That's free. Make it happen. That's for you.
But if you want, you can send us each a copy.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah. It costs $40, 20 each for us. For the film.
No, but hey, remember he's part of the distribution license, so if you want to send us 2 copies or 1 copy, you can send it to Hunter here, because I already have the digital version with all the bonus features, and it's
only
4K.
If you make the steelbook, though. We're not asking for a regular copy of the DVD. As much as I would love that, we're not gonna beg for stuff. But if you make that cool steelbook, definitely hit me up, Chief.
Yeah. Our if you're watching this on YouTube, our business email is in our channel description.
I love how we're talking to Judd Apatow like he's gonna listen to our podcast. Hey, man, you never know.
We did get a random subscriber to our channel. I don't know who it is. I tried to figure that out, but Gmail doesn't tell me.
Man. Let's go. So, closing out the show. Thank you guys for listening. You can follow us on Instagram at Box Office Losers and Twitter at Box Losers for posters and little funny doodads we do.
Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. But first, before we say bye-bye, Zach, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at Dark Shadow Zack virtually anywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I'm also a contributor to the Sports Hit List. I will be actually on there today live at 4:30 or 5 discussing the greatest tag teams ever at the time of this recording. So
The New Day. Yes, it is.
No, I'm going to be talking about the Young Bucks.
Ooh, interesting. I don't know who those guys are. Maybe I'll tune in and get informed.
Hunter, where can they find you?
You can find me at Scruffy Moose Man on almost every single media platform. And I have 2 podcasts besides this one that I do. Pound That Button, which is a PlayStation-centric podcast. Sometimes we talk about Nintendo stuff because we all play video games. But it is a PlayStation-centric podcast. Huh?
How was your first impressions of the PS5?
Oh, it was pretty good, man. I don't own one per se. My buddy down the street owns one. He's Alex. He's the one who's he runs the show with me. It's really cool. The games are great. The controller feels awesome. The graphics are crazy. The loading screens are non-existent. It's just so good. I can't wait to actually get one myself. You can also listen to my comic book pod. Pound That Button airs every Tuesday at 10 a.m. You can also check out Android's Amazing Podcast, which comes out Wednesday at 10 a.m., which the day of recording, it came out a couple hours ago. Go watch that, guys. Come on. We talked about Venom this week because the new Marvel event, King in Black, started. So we do a history of Venom and talk about our favorite Venom moments, as well as review new books that came out this week. I reviewed a horror book called Sea of Sorrows. It is fantastique. Go check that shit out. And, yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
You gotta have me on the comic book podcast one day.
I know. I want to talk to you about wrestling comic books because there's a lot.
Yes.
All right, Chief.
All right, guys. Thank you all for listening. Subscribe wherever you can find us. Give us a review. You know the drill. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Tell my sister I know she's my mother.
Got here as soon as I could.